Chapter 543. Master Wang, Master Yan. Are you here to see the second leader? At the entrance of the palace, two late-clasping Yuan realm warriors were guarding there. Seeing Wang Shi and Yin Kuei walking over, they asked with a respectful tone. Wang Shi said, "Indeed. These two are?" One of the guards looked at Morong Jishui and Yi Chen. Yin Kuei said, "This is the leader of the Morong family, and this is Yi Chen, who we always talk about." "He is Yi Chen. So young." The two guards were very surprised. As members of the Dragon God Celestial Palace, it was impossible for them not to have heard of Yi Chen's name. However, only some of the top warriors had seen his picture, and they did not have the chance to see him in person. Now that they had seen him in person, they could not help but sigh at how young he was. With this kind of cultivation at such a young age, it would be strange if the leader did not think highly of him. With that thought in mind, they hurried to hold their fists together and say with respect, "Warrior Yi." Yi Chen raised his right hand slightly and said with a smile, "No need to be so polite. Is second leader Yao here? The leader of the Morong family, and I have something to discuss with him. Please come in first. I will go inform the second leader." "All right then. Thank you." Walking into the palace, the four each found a seat and sat down, waiting for Yao Yifeng to arrive. Yi Chen, with second leader Yao's help, this operation will basically be smooth sailing. Morong Jishui talked to Yi Chen with a light tone. Yi Chen nodded to himself. Holding a wedding was a big family event, and he had messed around like this, which would be like stepping on the face of the Yuan family. Naturally, the Yuan family would not give him a fair treatment, and would try their best to stop him. But with second leader Yao here, the Yuan family would not be able to do anything. Soon Yao Yifeng arrived. Once he entered the palace, he did not look at anyone, and walked straight to the main seat before sitting down. A guard brought up the tea. Yao Yifeng picked up the teacup and took a sip, not saying anything for a long time. Strange. The second leader is not quite right today. Down below, Wang Shi and Yin Kuei exchanged a look. In the past, the second leader was very strict, but he would not act like that. Morong Jishui frowned. The situation doesn't look good. He could not be blamed for thinking like that, since Yi Chen had a high status. First, he was highly valued by the Dragon King, and second, he was also at peak level early seas of Soul's realm. No matter what, Yao Yifeng should not put on airs, even if he was the second leader of the Yellow Dragon Palace. Maybe it's just his personality. Yi Chen also had a bad feeling. Putting down the teacup, Yao Yifeng turned his head and said to Wang Shi and Yin Kuei, "You two can leave first." Wang Shi still wanted to say something. "Vice Hall Master," I said, "back off." Yao Yifeng sounded displeased. Yes. Wang Shi and Yin Kuei left gloomily. Before leaving, they glanced at Yi Chen and said to themselves, "Yi Chen, you're on your own. We can't help you." After a while Yao Yifeng spoke. He glanced at Yi Chen. "You are Yi Chen?" Yi Chen held his fists together and said, "Second leader Yao, I am indeed Yi Chen, and this is the leader of the Morong family, Morong Jishui. I am asking you, not him." Yao Yifeng frowned. "What do you want from me?" Yi Chen's heart sank as he said, "The Yuan family is very aggressive, forcing the daughter of the Morong family, Morong Qingqing, to marry Yuan Yi. Morong Qingqing is a good friend of Yi Chen's, so Yi Chen would not just stand and watch. So, I am here to greet second leader Yao." "You came here just for this?" Yao Yifeng's voice got louder. Before Yi Chen could speak, Yao Yifeng yelled, "Yi Chen, you have disappointed our leader and me so much. You are the martial genius that our leader thinks highly of, but instead of spending your time on training, you are fighting with someone else. How could you do this to our leader?" Right then, Morong Jishui was not happy. "Second leader Yao, you cannot say it like that. Although training is important, love is not the same. There are a lot of king warriors in the continent who had wives when they were young, and they still managed to achieve great things." Yao Yifeng sneered, "They are them. Can you guarantee that Yi Chen will become a king warrior? Plus, there are different levels of king warriors. What he is doing now is a disgrace to our leader and the resources that we have given him. He is not treating us seriously at all." Hearing him, Yi Chen's expression did not look good. Since his rise until now, besides the spirit pattern fruit that he had gotten from Long Bai. When had he ever gotten so many resources? Of course, it was not that he hated the dragon god celestial palace for not giving him resources, but he thought that Yao Yifeng was lying through his teeth. Pausing for a while, Yao Yifeng said to Yi Chen, "You said that the Yuan family forced Morong Qingqing to marry Yuan Yi. I do not think so. Perhaps you have your own ideas. Of course, this is only my guess. However, I would like to advise you to be down to earth and not go around looking for trouble. Everything you have was given by the leader and the dragon god celestial palace. You should work hard to improve yourself and repay them. As for the matter of Yuan family, you guys better not act recklessly." "That's right. Second leader Yao, have you been in contact with people from the Yuan family?" Morong Jishui's expression was dark. He was 80% sure that this Yao Yifeng must have received some benefits from the Yuan family. Otherwise, he would not be acting all high and mighty and trying to frame Yi Chen. Not to mention the fact that he was only a second leader. Even the leader of the Yellow Dragon Palace would not be this arrogant. Yao Yifeng squeezed his eyes and said with a sharp look, "You are the leader of the Morong family, Morong Jishui, right? Do you know who you are talking to?" As a master level C of Soul's Realm warrior, how could Morong Jishui let it go? Although Yao Yifeng's position was higher than his power might not be as powerful. So he said right back, "I, Morong Jishui, do not think that I have offended the Dragon God Celestial Palace and the Yellow Dragon Palace with words. Are you saying that I cannot talk to you? Uncle, that is enough. Since second leader Yao does not appreciate it, then we have nothing else to say. Second leader Yao, I will leave now." Yi Chen stood up and was about to leave. Morong Jishui snorted coldly. Today's events were out of his expectation. He did not expect that even Yao Yifeng would be bought over by the Yuan family. "You can leave now. Yi Chen, you stay," Yao Yifeng said casually. Yi Chen suddenly turned around, his eyes sharp. "Second leader Yao, why do you want me to stay?" Yao Yifeng said, "You are now at peak level early C of Soul's Realm, which is more than enough to serve the Dragon God Celestial Palace. I have a mission for you." "You want me to do a mission? I don't seem to be a member of the Dragon God Celestial Palace yet. Senior Dragon King has never mentioned this. Or rather, this is an order from you, Deputy Palace Master Yao. You dare to disobey?" Yao Yifeng said coldly, "Don't forget that I am the second leader of the Yellow Dragon Palace, a high-level member of the Dragon God Celestial Palace. I represent the Dragon God Celestial Palace. You disobey me because you want to cut ties with the Dragon God Celestial Palace? Can I understand it that way? Sorry, in my eyes, you cannot represent the Dragon God Celestial Palace, and I do not need to listen to your orders. If it were the Dragon King or Senior Long Bai, I would be more than happy to accept it." Right then, Yi Chen felt that there was no need for him to be polite anymore, since it would be an insult to him. Yao Yifeng was furious. "How dare you? The ancient Wen city is under my jurisdiction. Since you are in this area, you will have to listen to my orders. If you dare to disobey, you will have to bear the consequences. Uncle, let's go." Yi Chen did not care about Yao Yifeng as he walked out of the palace. "You are looking for death. Today, I will teach you a lesson on behalf of the leader." Boom! As Yao Yifeng pressed his palm in the air, a huge earthy yellow hand reached out to grab Yi Chen. It contained an extremely frightening earth profound. Morong Jishui had already considered himself to be on the same side as Yi Chen. So how could he watch Yi Chen get caught by Yao Yifeng? His body slanted, blocking in front of Yi Chen. He flicked his right finger, and a beam of green light shot out, piercing through that huge brown hand. The battle between the two was so loud that all the people in the Yellow Dragon Palace had sensed the vibrations, and a lot of them had rushed over. What is going on? Why is Yao Yifeng fighting with Warrior Yi? The ones who spoke were the two guards outside the palace. They did not understand what was going on. "Everyone listen up. Surround them. These two are being disrespectful to the Dragon God Celestial Palace." Yao Yifeng's voice spread throughout the whole palace. Not good. Yao Yifeng wants to capture Yi Chen. Wang Shi and Yin Kuei had not gone far at all. Seeing this scene, they did not know what to do. Outside the palace, Yi Chen stared at Yao Yifeng angrily. Second leader Yao, you better not go too far. I, Yi Chen, have never been afraid of anyone since my rise. If you think you are right, we can go to the headquarter of the Yellow Dragon Palace, or the Dragon God Celestial Palace in the future. Do you have the guts? Yi Chen is right. Today, you won't be able to take us down with just this amount of people. Whether you're right or not, we'll know once we get to the headquarters. I'm just afraid that you'll refuse to go then. Morong Jishui was not afraid of Yao Yifeng, since he could leave with Yi Chen anytime he wanted. Yao Yifeng's face was very dark. You two will regret what you have done today sooner or later. As for going to the headquarter, why should I be afraid? Finally, Yi Chen, let me give you a piece of advice. Do not mess with the Yuan family. Otherwise, you will have to bear the consequences. Yi Chen, let's go. Morong Jishui sneered as he said to Yi Chen. Yi Chen nodded and followed behind Morong Jishui. Thousands of meters away, Yi Chen's voice was heard. Second leader Yao, what happened today, I, Yi Chen, will not let it go like nothing happened. You just have to remember that your life will not be easy. I will be waiting. Yao Yifeng's face was extremely pale as he shattered the stone lion in front of the palace with one palm attack. Not good. How did this second leader get into a conflict with Yi Chen? Should we send a message back to the headquarter? Yan Kuei sent a message to Wang Shi. Wang Shi nodded. Of course. Didn't you see that second leader, Yao, was a bit strange today? Yeah, he was a bit strange indeed. But he had crossed the line a bit. Yi Chen is a martial genius after all. It seems like he does not have the right to teach him a lesson. I guess there must be some kind of benefit involved. Wang Shi and Yan Kuei were both on Yi Chen's side. In their opinion, the second leader had been acting all high and mighty right from the start, which was already a bit too much. Now that something like this had happened, there was no way it had nothing to do with him. After all, in their first impression, Yi Chen was quite a nice person. Chapter 544. In the sky above the ancient Wind City, two human figures were flying. I did not expect that even the second leader of the Yellow Dragon Palace, Yao Yifeng, would be bought over by the Yuan family. This Yuan family has indeed invested a lot. Morong Jishui did not think that normal wealth would be able to move Yao Yifeng's heart. As a master-level Sea of Souls realm warrior, there were not many things that could move him. But once there was something that could move him, then it meant that it was really important, and he would risk his life to get it. Yi Chen said calmly, without Yao Yifeng, Yuan clan can't do anything to us. What they fear is Senior Dragon King and Dragon God Celestial Palace, not Yao Yifeng. Morong Jishui nodded. You're right. Without Yao Yifeng's support, we may face some obstacles. But as long as we're careful, there shouldn't be any problems. No matter what, we can only rely on ourselves. Yi Chen took a deep breath. Although he didn't expect to rely on others, Yao Yifeng's matter still made him feel a trace of anger. Back at the restaurant, Morong Wu saw that the two did not look right, so he hurried to ask, what happened? Morong Jishui shook his head and sighed. Don't even mention it. This second leader of the Yellow Dragon Palace has already been bought by the Yuan family. I suspect that they already knew that Yi Chen was coming. It is indeed not good news. Morong Wu looked serious. Suddenly, Morong Jishui thought of something and said to Yi Chen, Yao Yifeng has fallen out with us. Your two senior brothers might be able to play a role. Senior brother Wang and senior brother Yan. Yi Chen thought for a while and said, I don't know them very well, but I think we can talk. They used to be disciples of the Dragon King. Senior Dragon King's disciple. That's good. It's impossible for Senior Dragon King's disciple to be completely obedient to Yao Yifeng. You're also someone Senior Dragon King thinks highly of, so your chances are high. Then I'll find time to contact them. Yi Chen didn't plan to use his soul power to contact them immediately. After all, his soul power was his secret, and it wouldn't be good to expose it. Moreover, he didn't know whether Wang Shi and Yan Kuei were on his side or not. Near the Abyss Yuan family, on the top floor of a tall building, Yuan Jin and Yuan Yi were chatting. Little Yi, have you made any progress with that girl? Yuan Jin asked casually. Yuan Yi was a bit angry as he said, there is no progress at all. She saw me go over, But she did not even leave the house. If it were not for the wedding, I would have used force already. The demi-demons had the bloodline of the demons, so it was easy for them to be aggressive. This Yuan Yi was very famous for his brutality. A smile appeared on Yuan Jin's face. If it's yours, it'll be yours sooner or later. Don't be too impatient. Let her do as she pleases for now. After the wedding, she won't be able to do as she pleases. Father is right. Yuan Yi nodded and brought up another topic. I heard from the scouts that Yi Chun and Murong Jishui had gone to the Yellow Dragon Palace. I am afraid that they are looking for the second leader of the Yellow Dragon Palace, Yao Yifeng. Would it affect us? Yuan Jin sneered. What kind of influence can it have? I'm afraid they still don't know that Yao Yifeng has been bribed by me. Has Yao Yifeng been bribed by father? The price must be quite high, right? Yuan Yi was shocked, since he did not know about this at all. Yao Yifeng is the eyes and ears of the Dragon God Heaven Palace after all, so he is still very useful. This time, he has been bribed, and we can continue to use him in the future. Therefore, it does not matter if the price is high. Our Yuan family can handle it, and we will definitely earn it back in the future. Even Yao Yifeng has been bribed by us. Let's see what else they can do. Yuan Yi let out a breath as he licked his lips. Outside of the city, inside a secret manor. Brother Yi, don't worry. We will take care of this. That Yuan family dares to go against you. They are looking for death. Yen Kuei had always been hot-tempered. Plus, he had just arrived at the ancient Wen city, and he had already gotten into a conflict with the master of the Yuan family, which made him even more annoyed. His face was full of killing intent. Wang Shi was also annoyed, so he said, "What is a Yuan family? If it were not for the leader's protection, they would have been destroyed a dozen times already. Right now, they dare to climb on top of our heads. This is too much. Brother Yi, we did not know about this before. But now that we know, we will not just stand there and watch. We have already sent the news about you and second leader Yao." Yi Chen said gratefully. "During the wedding, I will have to ask you two senior brothers to help me out. Your problem is our problem. There's no need to trouble us." Wang Shi and Yen Kuei had already considered Yi Chen as their family, since they used to be the leader's disciples. Although Yi Chen had not received any instruction from the leader, just the fact that he was valued by the leader was enough for them to try their best to help him. They would not allow anyone to bully their own people. Yi Chen was a bit emotional. Before, he did not expect things to go so smoothly. "All right, Yi Chen, I will go back with Brother Wang first, in case Yao Yifeng suspects us." Yen Kuei was very straightforward, and did not even call him second leader anymore. Of course, it was in front of Yi Chen and Wang Shi, so there was no need for him to hide his emotions. "All right." Yi Chen stood up to see them off. 3 days passed in a flash, and there were only 7 days left before the wedding. During this time, Yi Chen did not do anything else. He only focused on training and comprehending the profound. He needed to be fully prepared for the challenge. My gold resonant radiance art has finally reached 90%. This gold profound breakthrough is not that hard, but it is not that easy either. It all depends on whether you can find the breakthrough point or not. Yi Chen's training time was way slower than the other Sea of Souls realm warriors, but he had already found some patterns. For example, in the early stages, as long as he trained quietly, he would definitely be able to make a breakthrough. But after reaching 70%, he would have to focus more on the moment of inspiration, which would be worth a few months of training. Of course, it did not mean that he would just sit there and wait for something to happen. Instead, it meant that he would have to enter the training mode and search for that moment of inspiration. Once he found the pattern, Yi Chen thought that it would save him a lot of time. There is not much time left. I do not have time to train the Sky Thunder Cut and the Amaranthan Nature yet. I will try my best to train the Void Shattering Finger Art. It would be impossible to train all of his profound within a short period of time. Right now, for Yi Chen, the Gold Resonant Radiance Art, the Void Shattering Finger Art, and the Sword Chi Tornado formed by the Lotus Heart Sword Chi would be his most powerful attacks. The rest would have to wait for a while. Right now, my attacks can already create space patterns, so it would not be that hard to train the Void Shattering Finger Art. It is too bad that I cannot go deeper into the surreal space. If I could touch the space power up close, it would be very easy for me to train the void-shattering finger art to the next level. Soon another 3 days had passed. During this time, there were more and more people in the ancient Wind City. Most of them were the top management of all of the powerful forces in the Gulan region. They had been invited by the Yuan family, such as the Gulan Martial School, some of the powerful Rank 6 martial schools, Rank 6 families, and some of the famous Rank 7 martial schools. As one of the top 2 forces in the Gulan region, even if the Yuan family did not want to invite people, it would mean that they did not care about anyone at all. Therefore, even though they knew that Yi Chen would go and mess around during the wedding, they still had to hold the wedding in a big way. I heard that Yuan Ye's fiancée is as pretty as a goddess. I wonder if it is true. The demi-demon family has always produced handsome men and beautiful women. I guess it is true. But this Yuan Yi is also one of the rare handsome men. The two would make a great couple. All of the restaurants in the ancient Wind City were filled with people, and a lot of people were talking about the upcoming wedding. On the street, Morong Jishui and Morong Wu were walking side by side. There are quite a lot of people here. Morong Wu could see 2 to 3 Sea of Souls realm warriors with one glance. Morong Jishui said, "The more the better." These days, Yi Chen has been training his profound sense. I wonder how is his progress. Speaking of this, Morong Jishui was also very concerned. He shook his head and said, he will have to rely on himself. Yuan Yi is not that easy to take on. I think no one below master level Sea of Souls realm would be able to take on him. I even think that Yuan Yi is not weaker than normal master level Sea of Souls realm warriors. There is indeed such a possibility. The special power of the perfect demi-demon bloodline is not something to joke about. It would grow stronger as one's cultivation increases. With Yuan Ye's current cultivation, his special power would probably be equivalent to demonizing 3 parts of his body. Morong Wu was very worried. Perhaps it will be more than that. Morong Jishui thought to himself. Inside the quiet yard, space patterns appeared everywhere. Yi Chen was in the middle of the space pattern with both of his eyes closed. His soul power was constantly observing the pattern of the space pattern. I only need one more matching point. Once I find it, I will be able to train my void-shattering finger art to 50%. 50% was the dividing line for low-rank profound sense martial arts, which meant that he had reached the limit of the space mentality. Compared to 40% of the void-shattering finger art, it would be twice as powerful. The space pattern is different from the water pattern. When 2 circles of water pattern are stacked together, they will cancel each other out, creating a conflict. But the space pattern will merge with each other. Merge? Oh right. The merging will make the power even more powerful. This is the limit of the space mentality. Deep inside Yi Chen's mind, something seemed to have been cleared up, opening up a whole new world for him. Opening his eyes suddenly, Yi Chen took a deep breath. It was a long breath, blowing up sand and rocks in the yard. The chi flow was chaotic. Break! Putting his tongue on the roof of his mouth, Yi Chen pointed out his finger at the fake mountain not far away. Pop! The fake mountain disappeared without a sound, and a bottomless black hole appeared where it had been. All the extra materials had been devoured. Once the void-shattering finger art reached 50%, it would not only be able to break through Zhen Yuan easily, but it would also have a devouring effect. This devouring effect would turn the materials into space power, which would increase the power of the void-shattering finger art. Time was king and space was king. This statement was not empty at all. 50% of the void-shattering finger art's power would be way more powerful than the gold resonant radiance art, because as long as one was hit by the void-shattering finger art, 100% of the power would increase to 120%, or even more. It would devour one's Zhen Yuan and increase one's attacking power. I should be 100% confident now, right? Yi Chen's brows relaxed a little. Before, he did not have much confidence, because demi-demons were different from humans. There were too many unknowns, especially Yuan Ye's special power, which was even more powerful than his demonization power. So he had to be careful. But now, everything was no longer a problem. Chapter 545. In the last 4 days, Yi Chun tried his best to familiarize himself with the void-shattering finger. The void-shattering finger art came from the Goat Horn Mountain, which was located in the 100,000 mountain range of the Grey Mystery Nation. Back then, other than the plain-colored jade slip that contained the third movement of the void-shattering finger art, there was also a huge white key. When the white key was activated with energy, it would form 6 huge characters in the air. Emperor's Tomb, Aries constellation. There was a high chance that the tomb of a martial monarch was the tomb of a titled monarch. Based on that, the white key should be the key to open the tomb. As for the void-shattering finger, it was probably not as simple as breaking through the invisible barrier and obtaining the white key. There should be more to it than that. The void-shattering finger art that Yi Chun had obtained was the third movement, and it was related to the tomb of a martial monarch. Therefore, its power and potential were self-evident. If he wanted to master it, it would not be something that could be done in a day. After all, comprehension and application were two different things. Even if you had the power of 100 pounds, you might not be able to use all of it. The power of space was just too mysterious. Seriously speaking, Yi Chun was currently unable to use the power of space. What he used was true essence to simulate the power of space. If he wanted to simulate the power of space more successfully, he would need to use the profound meanings of concepts. Of course, if he wanted to comprehend the profound of space, the difficulty would not be as easy as comprehending a low-rank profound martial art to completion. In fact, it might be even more difficult. Yi Chun could only put more effort into using it, striving to bring out all of its power. This morning, the ancient Wind City was even more crowded than usual, because it was the wedding day of Yuan Yi from the Yuan family. Within the fog, countless human figures flew out of the ancient Wind City, heading toward the Yuan family in the west. Among them were Yi Chun, Morong Jishui, Morong Wu, and 10 powerful warriors from the Morong family. The day has finally come. Morong Jishui took a deep breath as a cold light flickered in his eyes. Morong Wu also said with a cold voice, "This Yuan family indeed does not respect our Morong family at all. They did not even send us an invitation. We, as the uncles and the father, seem to have become outsiders. Without an invitation, there's no reason to stand on our side. We'll just go." The closer he got to the Yuan family, the more Morong Jishui felt a sense of suffocation in his heart. He could not help but think of his first love. "I wonder if you've been happy all these years?" Morong Jishui thought. Whoosh, whoosh. Since they had to accommodate the 10 elites from the Morong clan, Yi Chun and the other 2 did not increase their speed to the limit. Occasionally, there would be people who would overtake them. Yi Chun frowned. He saw the Yellow Dragon Hall's deputy hall master, Yao Yifeng, and his 2 senior brothers, Wang Shi and Yin Kuei. Yao Yifeng glanced coldly at Yi Chun and transmitted his voice. "You really are a scourge. It's not too late to leave now." Yi Chun sneered. "You don't need to worry about it. We'll settle our debts later." "Settle accounts? I'm afraid you don't have the ability to do so." With a cold snort, Yao Yifeng sped up, turning into a streak of light and fleeing. At this time, Wang Shi's voice sounded. "Junior brother Yi, you can make a scene at the wedding. Junior brother Yan, and I will speak for you." "Thank you, senior brothers." With these 2 speaking up for him, the situation would undoubtedly improve. At the very least, they represented Dragon God Celestial Palace. "Then we will go first. See you in the Yuan family." Wang Shi and Yin Kuei increased their speed, following behind Yao Yifeng. After an hour, everyone arrived at the Yuan family. Today, the Yuan family was decorated with lanterns and decorations, looking very festive. As far as the eye could see, there was red everywhere. Outside of the gate, there were rows of warriors in red uniforms waiting to welcome the guests. There was someone there to check the invitation cards. "Sorry, you do not have an invitation card. You cannot go in." Yi Chun and his group were blocked outside. Morong Wu said angrily, "I am Qingqing's uncle, and this is her father. If we cannot go in, who else can? Without an invitation card, no one can go in. This is the order of the headmaster." The gatekeeper sneered, not taking the 3 seriously at all. Morong Jishui said calmly, This is your Yuan family's responsibility. You did not even inform the bride's family. There is no need for this wedding at all. Who is making a scene? The commotion had attracted the attention of the powerful warriors of the Yuan family. A good-looking young man walked over. He looked similar to Yuan Yi, but was a bit older. Yuan Hao. Morong Wu recognized the young man immediately. It was indeed Yuan Ye's brother, Yuan Hao. Yuan Hao glanced at the three and said in a weird tone, "So it is uncle and uncle. You two can go in. As for him, he will stay." Yuan Hao pointed at Yi Chen. "This is my brother disciple Yi. What? You want to kick him out?" A loud yell was heard as Yan Kuei walked over with big steps. Yuan Hao's expression changed. He tried to suppress his anger as he said, "This is our Yuan family. The rules are set by us. Your Yuan family is so powerful. What? Are you going to kick out people from our Dragon God Heaven Palace to show off your power? You!" A cold light flashed in Yuan Hao's eyes. If it were in the wild, he would kill Yan Kuei for sure. "Brother Yi, let's go in. Let's see who dares to stop us." They had already guessed that the Yuan family would do this, which was why they sent Yan Kuei out. Yi Chen took a deep breath and followed Yan Kuei into the Yuan family. He had already prepared himself for all kinds of troubles, since he was in someone else's territory after all. The wedding would be held in the biggest plaza of the Yuan family. Both sides of the plaza and the front were filled with seats. There were already a lot of people sitting there, drinking tea while chatting. The atmosphere was quite lively. Yuan Jin and Yuan Yi, who was wearing the bridegroom's outfit, saw Yi Chen and the other two. Their faces darkened. All of their plans against Yi Chen had failed. First, Morong Wang disappeared mysteriously, and then Yao Yifeng did not let Yi Chen stay, asking him to go out on a mission. "Since you are here, don't even think about leaving in one piece." Yuan Ye's evil qi increased, his eyes looking creepy. It has not reached that stage yet. Yuan Jin vaguely looked at the waiter in the crowd and nodded slightly, seeming to signal something. That waiter also nodded and walked toward Yi Chen's direction. There were a lot of waiters coming and going, bringing tea, snacks, and fruits to every table. It was no exception for Yi Chen's side. Morong Wu was about to drink some water when Morong Jishui stopped him. "Do not eat anything when you are in someone else's territory." "Oh right, I forgot about that." Morong Wu seemed to have thought of something as he put down his cup. As for Yi Chen, he did not even look at the tea and snacks on the table. "You are not drinking?" Yuan Jin frowned. He ordered the waiter to add some 3 calamity powder to their tea. The amount of powder was very small, not enough to make them lose consciousness for 3 days, but it was enough to make them lose consciousness for half a day. After half a day had passed, everything was settled. "Emoluo, it will be up to you now." Yuan Jin sent a message to the gray shadow in the corner. "Headmaster, do not worry. I am not their opponent in a head-on battle. But if it is a sneak attack, I have 100% confidence." The gray shadow's voice was very calm. "I trust you." A creepy smile appeared on Yuan Jin's face. All these years, Emoluo had never disappointed him, and he had never failed before. The number of Master-level Sea of Souls realm warriors who had died in his hands had already reached 3. Judging on battling power, they were more than 10 times more powerful than Emoluo. But under Emoluo's sneak attacks, they had all died very quickly without any suspense. Emoluo was the most powerful assassin among Sea of Souls realm warriors. A waiter walked past the gray shadow. As he left, the gray shadow disappeared as well. No one knew how it disappeared. Not even the Master-level Sea of Souls realm warriors nearby had sensed it. No, they did not even notice the existence of the gray shadow. It was an extremely horrifying scene, one that would make one's hair stand on end. "What do you think the Yuan family will do to us next?" Morong Wu had brought his own wine, pouring one for Morong Jishui and Yi Chen as he said, "Whatever comes, we will just have to deal with it." Yi Chen held the wine glass and shook it slightly. The inside of the glass started to ripple, reflecting everything around them. All of a sudden, a gray shadow flashed past in the glass like an illusion. Yi Chen did not look at the glass, but a vague smile appeared on his face. Morong Jishui frowned slightly. His sight was filled with the waiters' figures. They seemed to have been isolated, and he had a bad feeling about this. Strange. Why do I feel like sleeping? Morong Wu's eyes looked blank as he slowly lowered his eyelids. Not good. Morong Jishui also felt sleepy. For a master-level Sea of Souls realm warrior, it would be something unimaginable. Who? A circle of surreal water waves spread out, and the surrounding area fell into darkness. Let's sleep. The twisted gray shadow passed by in front of the three, making them feel more and more sleepy. They could not even open their eyes anymore. Morong Wu had even started to snore. Only Morong Jishui and Yi Chun were still struggling, trying their best to see the real face of the gray shadow. The gray shadow laughed as his body appeared. He waved his hand and threw out a pile of gray powder toward Yi Chun. It was colorless and odorless mixed with the qi flow. It covered Yi Chun's head immediately, trying to get into his nostrils. I wonder what other tricks the Yuan family will have after killing you. All of a sudden, Yi Chun sat up straight and opened his eyes. His pupils were clear, and there was no sign of him wanting to sleep at all. The gray shadow yelled with a low voice as he shot backward, his body twisting rapidly. Do you think you can get away? Shoo! The wine spilled out as Yi Chun flicked his finger. That light-like lotus heart sword chi went through the water curtain and landed on the gray shadow's chest that had not twisted yet. Blood splashed out. It was not red, but a dreamy blue color. The blue blood seemed to have washed away the darkness around them, returning the scene back to normal. The sounds of the guests chatting with each other started to become clearer. Boom! A human figure was blown backward, landing in the middle of the plaza. Everyone's attention was attracted by it. They looked over and could not help but gasp. The one lying on the ground in the middle of the plaza was a weird-looking monkey in gray robes. It was only 1 meter tall, and its limbs were covered in long hair. Its face looked like an elder's. Right then, there was a bloody hole in its chest, and blue blood kept pouring out of it. Chapter 546. What? Emoluo failed. Yuan Jin's pupils shrank, filled with shock. Emoluo was the name of a clan. There were very few members in this clan. At most, there would not be more than 5. This Emoluo who followed him was a level 10. He had spent more than 10 years to train this Emoluo, which was as long as he had been collecting the materials for the 3 disaster enchantment. Emoluo's battling power was not that powerful, and could even be considered very weak. Rank 10 Emoluo's battling power would be similar to normal rank 9 beasts, and any Sea of Souls realm warriors would not need to be afraid of it. However, its soul power was extra powerful. Once it reached rank 9, it would master a special power related to the soul. Once it was used, even master-level Sea of Souls realm warriors would not be able to handle it. In the ancient era, Emoluo's name represented nightmares. No matter how powerful you were, once it got close to you, your life would be under its control. Of course, Emoluo was not without its weaknesses. Its special power could only be used twice within a short period of time, and after that, it would take a long time to recover. There were 13 people in Yi Chen's group, and they were all living separately in the restaurant in the ancient Wind City. Emoluo could not control them one by one, and he could not kill them all like he did to master-level Sea of Souls realm warriors in the past. Otherwise, he would not have to wait until today. Yuan Jin had not expected that something that he was so sure of would fail. He did not even know if the Emoluo was still alive or not. You are looking for death. Emoluo was way too important for Yuan Jin. He could not control his emotions anymore as he stood up abruptly, looking at Yi Chun with a murderous look. Yi Chun looked at Yuan Jin coldly. If I have guessed it right, this thing is called Emoluo. It is extremely rare in the world, and your Yuan family is very lucky to have one. Also, who here has discovered its existence? It tried to drug me just now, but I killed it with 1 finger attack. Emoluo? I have read about it in the ancient books. No wonder it could hide in the crowd without us knowing. It is the most horrifying assassin among the beasts. Yuan family has a Emoluo. Then those master-level Sea of Souls realm warriors, who were killed a few years ago, might have something to do with it. Yuan Jin, what is going on? Let me ask you, was Emoluo from your Yuan family the one who killed our Gulan Martial School's Master Han? The master of the Gulan Martial School, who had come to congratulate Yi Chen, suddenly started to attack, his face extremely pale. The Master Han he was talking about was a Master Level Sea of Souls Realm warrior of the Gulan Martial School. For a Rank 5 martial school, Master Level Sea of Souls Realm warriors were definitely the backbone of the martial school, the symbol of the rise and fall of the martial school. As for the Life and Death Realm warriors, although they were more powerful than Master Level Sea of Souls Realm warriors, they would not show up easily. They were like the nuclear weapons from Yi Chen's world. Having a Master Level Sea of Souls realm assassinated, the Gulan Martial School had suffered a huge loss. It would be strange if they were not angry about it. It was just that they still could not find the culprit. Right now, Emo Luo had appeared in the Yuan family. Without a doubt, the Yuan family was the biggest suspect. The master of the Gulan party was furious. People from the Yuan family looked at each other, not knowing what to do. Right then, Yuan Ye's brother, Yuan Hao, walked out and said with a loud voice, "Everyone, do not listen to his side of the story. He is trying to frame our Yuan family. Whether it is a trap or not, we all know it. As for Emo Luo appearing in the Yuan family, it is not a trap for you." Morong Jishui woke up from his drowsiness. Seeing this scene, he knew who was behind it immediately. He was secretly scared, but at the same time he said sarcastically, "Morong Jishui." Yuan Jin stared at Yi Chun and Morong Jishui without blinking. If possible, he would like to gather all of the powerful warriors of the Yuan family to kill the two, just to relieve the anger of Emo Luo being killed. "Yuan Jin, you still owe us an explanation." All of the people from the Gulan party, who had come to congratulate the Yuan family, all stood up, looking at the people from the Yuan family with an unfriendly expression. "Father, you cannot admit that Emo Luo was raised by our Yuan family. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable." Yuan Hao secretly sent a message to Yuan Jin. Yuan Jin naturally knew what to do. He tightened his fists, then relaxed them soon after. "Everyone, our Yuan family did not know about this Emo Luo. Its appearance here might be someone messing around, purposely putting on a show for you all." Yen Kuei could not help but sneer. "Headmaster Yuan, it seemed like you were angry just now. Why did you have to be angry right now?" People from the Gulan party did not believe Yuan Jin's words either, so they stared at him without blinking. "Huh. Today is my son's wedding day. How can we let blood be spilled? Do you think I cannot be angry after seeing blood? What kind of logic is this?" Yuan Jin was even more cunning than expected. His words were flawless, making it hard for people to catch him. Pausing for a second, he continued to say, "If Emo Luo was raised by our Yuan family, then it would not be discovered at all. Once it was discovered, it would mean that it has nothing to do with our Yuan family. After all, Emo Luo's special power is something that even Master Level Sea of Souls Realm warriors could not handle. Do you think he could?" It seems to make sense. A lot of people chose to wait and see. Tapping on the table with his fingers, Yi Chen's expression did not change. "What kind of logic is this? If it was discovered, it would have nothing to do with your Yuan family. If it was not discovered, then no one would know about Emo Luo. In other words, no matter if it was discovered or not, your Yuan family would still be able to stay out of it. Is that what you are trying to say? How dare you? How dare you accuse me?" Yuan Hao looked at Yi Chun with a creepy expression. The warning and threat in his eyes were obvious. "Everything needs evidence. If you just listen to his words, then I will have nothing to say. But I will make it clear once again that this Emo Luo has nothing to do with our Yuan family." Yuan Jin took a deep look at Yi Chun as he said to the leading master of the Gulan party. The leading master of the Gulan party took a couple of deep breaths, his eyes looking extremely dark. Indeed, there was no solid evidence for this. Without any solid evidence, it would be unreasonable to start a conflict with the Yuan family. So he sat down and said with a cold voice, "All right. Today, I will give your Yuan family some face. But if my Gulan party finds out the truth in the future, you will not be able to get away with it." Hearing him, Yuan Jin let out a breath. "Find out the truth? What a joke. If you can find out the truth, then you will have the capability." Turning his head, Yuan Jin ordered, "Come on. Take Emo Luo's body away before it stains the wedding venue." No hurry. It was Yi Chen who spoke. Since your Yuan family does not want to admit the existence of this Emoluo, then this body should belong to me, because I am the one who killed it. Yi Chen did not have this thought at first, but the dream-eating wolf in his beast tag seemed to have sensed the Emoluo's chi, so it started to roar excitedly. Through the soul mark, Yi Chen knew that it really needed the body. It was understandable, since the dream-eating wolf could create dreams, so it was extremely powerful in terms of soul power. Since the Emoluo could enchant souls, its soul power should be equally powerful. Devouring the flesh and beast pellet of the Emoluo would help the dream-eating wolf recover from the wounds on its soul. Yuan Jin would not let Yi Chen take away the body of the Emoluo, since it would be useful to him as well. So he said coldly, "This happened in our Yuan family, so we have the right to deal with the body. There is no need for you to worry about it. Take it away." Yes, a powerful warrior of the Yuan family took away the body. What a shame. Yi Chen did not continue to say anything. He thought to himself that it was such a shame. Looking at the dream-eating wolf's desperate look, he knew how important the body was to it. Waiting until Emoluo's body was moved away, Yuan Jin said with a low voice, "Today is my second son's wedding day. I hope things will go smoothly and without any problems." In Yuan Hao's mind, he had been wanting to step on Yi Chen for a long time, humiliating him in front of everyone. It was the consequence of messing with the Yuan family. Chapter 547. That black flowing light was like an angry dragon or a shooting star. A lot of people there did not even have the time to react before they saw Yuan Hao throwing out a spear attack toward Yi Chen. It was an unexpected attack, as if it was meant to catch people off guard. With just a little bit of carelessness, one would be at a huge disadvantage or even be wounded badly. Despicable. Wang Shi and Yin Kuei were both furious. Yi Chen did not have the time to stand up. His right hand reached toward his waist and took out his gold sword. The sword tore apart the air, clashing with the spear tip. Chin. Sparks flew everywhere as the chair Yi Chen was sitting on turned into dust. This sword intent? Yuan Hao wanted to embarrass Yi Chen, since he could tell that Yi Chen was only at peak level early seas of Soul's realm. Even if he could fight beyond his cultivation, it would not be that crazy. But his cultivation had already reached peak level mid-seas of Soul's realm, and his martial spirit had reached peak level rank 3 as well. That unexpected spear attack should be able to make Yi Chen look quite bad. But that sword attack just now contained a normal Jin Yuan, but the sword intent was extra powerful. It had shattered the martial intent that he had infused into his attack. Demon Monument Fist. After that spear attack, Yuan Hao's left hand left the spear body as he flipped his wrist, grabbing a huge black Jin Yuan stone tablet and smashing it down, trying to suppress Yi Chen. Shoo! The black Jin Yuan stone tablet had not fully materialized yet when a beam of sword chi flashed past, cutting the stone tablet in half. After cutting the stone tablet open, Yi Chen lifted his head to look at Yuan Hao. The latter had missed 2 attacks, so he used the power of the chi explosion to fly out dozens of meters into the air. That rich brown chi spread out from his body and eventually gathered on the tip of his spear. That spear light suddenly shot out from the tip of the spear, stretching and stretching like a snake's tongue, giving people an endless feeling of fear. No wonder you are so arrogant. You do have some power. But it is still not enough. Looking down at Yi Chen, a cruel smile appeared on Yuan Hao's face. Use your demonification ability. Otherwise, the situation will be very ugly. Pointing the gold sword at the ground, Yi Chen sounded very calm. It was this calm tone that made Yuan Hao's veins pop out on his forehead. An ant asking him to use all of his power? Nothing was more ridiculous and infuriating than this. Many of the experts from the Yuan family were also full of disdain. In their eyes, Yi Chen was no different from a clown. Soon he would know what humiliation was. He really doesn't know what's good for him. Big brother, remember to count my share as well. Teach him an unforgettable lesson. With the wedding paused, the angriest person would be Yuan Yi. Right now, what he wanted to see the most was Yi Chen being stepped on, Yuan Hao sneered and passed on a message. Don't worry. I will let him know the consequences of going against the Yuan family. Of course, it is a rare opportunity. Beating him instantly would be too boring. Hehe. It seems like this brat is going to be unlucky. Yuan Hao and Yuan Yi have always been cruel and brutal. Messing with them would hurt both physically and mentally. Yuan Hao is already 35 or 36 years old after all. He has reached his peak in almost every aspect. Those who are younger than 30 would have to go to the Sky Martial region to find them. Basically, everyone there did not think that Yi Chen would win. Even the masters of the Gulan Martial School were shaking their heads and frowning. Shoo! Just as everyone was discussing, Yuan Hao's body flashed like a brown lightning bolt. He appeared on the right side of Yi Chen within a second, throwing out a spear attack. Yi Chen backed out while his gold sword shone with a sword light. Do you think you can escape? Yuan Hao's spear aura changed along with Yi Chen's position. The long black spear had only swept out halfway before stabbing out again, chasing after Yi Chen who was backing out. Yi Chen sneered. His whole body turned into a sword light, moving forward instead of backing out. He stuck close to the long black spear and arrived in front of Yuan Hao, throwing out a sword attack. What kind of step art is this? Yuan Hao was shocked, throwing out a punch at the gold sword. Chin! Bright sparks appeared as Yuan Hao dragged his long spear and backed out continuously. Such a horrifying sword power. Yuan Hao was wearing gloves, but his entire left arm had gone numb. Shoo! Yi Chen caught up with him and threw out a sword attack. This sword attack contained his profound sword movement, amaranthine nature. The sword power was endless, and in front of the tip of the sword, circles of vacuum halo appeared. It was a sign that the sword speed was so fast that the air had been pierced through continuously. Piss off! Yuan Hao roared as he lifted up the long black spear with his right hand and waved it out heavily. Swoosh! Although the power of amaranthine nature was not as powerful as the gold resonant radiance attack, judging from the technique, it was definitely more powerful. Once the sword attack was thrown out, it would be very hard to defend against. The gold sword brushed past the long black spear, bringing up a bright spark. The sword attack landed on Yuan Hao's shoulder, and the sword light went right through. The trajectory is off. Yi Chen frowned slightly. That sword attack was supposed to pierce through Yuan Hao's chest, but since the latter did not plan to go easy on him, he would naturally not go easy on him either. He would pierce through his chest and make him bedridden for a couple of months. The wound on his shoulder had shocked Yuan Hao a bit. He had not expected that he would be wounded like this, especially by a young man who was 10 years younger than him. Not only was Yuan Hao shocked, everyone present was also a bit shocked. Impressive. That sword attack was not that powerful in terms of power. It could only be considered normal, but it was able to increase its speed during the attack, making it even faster than it actually was. A few of them had seen through the mystery of that sword attack, so they praised in their minds. Bastard! Yuan Hao's eyes turned red as he was about to fight back. Dang! Taking out the gold sword, Yi Chen knocked on the bottom half of the long black spear. He then used his power to make Yuan Hao's right arm go numb as well. The long spear flew out of his hand and turned into a shooting star, shooting through all of the buildings in the distance, before finally stabbing into an inner mountain. I told you to use your demonization power as soon as possible. After kicking away Yuan Hao, Yi Chen stood in the air. Pooh! Yuan Hao kept puking out blood. The wound on his shoulder had shattered his protective Zhen Yuan layer within a second. That kick from Yi Chen had even cracked his chest bone. Yi Chen, this brat! He had been hiding his power when he was fighting with me. Morong Wu, who was on the ground, had a smile on his face. Morong Jishui said. He had told me that if he used all of his power, you would not be able to take 10 attacks from him. 10 attacks? So powerful. Morong Wu was a bit surprised. It should be true. Looking back at the time of his rise, have I ever seen him lose? That is true. But Yuan Hao had not used his demonization power yet. I wonder how much more powerful he would be after partial demonization. Cough. Puking out another mouthful of blood, Yuan Hao looked at Yi Chen with hatred. Very good. You managed to wound me. It has been a long time since I last got wounded. Yi Chen said lightly. Do you still want to continue? Do you think you have one? What a joke. Next, I will show you what it means to pay you back in double. Yuan Hao groaned. His body tensed up all of a sudden, and waves of black qi could be seen coming out of his arms. Both of his arms seemed to be burning with a black flame. Both arms demonized. No, right chest demonized as well. Morong Jishui's pupil shrank. His opponent was indeed one of the top young warriors of the Yuan family. In terms of demonization, he was even more powerful than him. It was only his control that was weaker than him, since he was a master level C of Soul's Realm warrior after all. With both arms and right chest demonized, Yuan Hao's qi had increased by more than 30%. His right arm's attacking power had increased by 40 to 50%, and his left arm had also increased by 30%. All of a sudden, the whole sky had been dyed black. It was an endless darkness that even devoured the sunlight. Your demonization speed is too slow. There was no reason for Yi Chun to just watch his opponent demonize. He straightened his gold sword and a crescent-shaped sword qi swept out, cutting off half of the clouds in the sky. As for Yuan Hao, he was blown miles away by the sword qi, breaking a mountain. Little brat Yi, is this the fairness you seek? Yuan Jin's eyebrows twitched as he stared at Yi Chun angrily. Wang Shi sneered. Headmaster Yuan earlier, when your son attacked Yi Chun unexpectedly, why didn't you say anything? Now, it is your son's turn, and you are trying to talk about fairness? Even if you don't feel ashamed, I feel ashamed for you. Wang Shi, shut up. What kind of attitude is this? Before Yuan Jin could say anything, Yao Yifeng stared at Wang Shi with a displeased expression. Yan Kuei and Wang Shi had the best relationship, so he argued back. Second leader. What did Brother Wang say wrong? You cannot speak for an outsider. Yao Yifeng said coldly. Yi Chun has caused so much trouble and brought shame to our Dragon God Heaven Palace. From now on, you are not allowed to speak for him. Otherwise, you will be punished according to the palace rules. Hearing him, Wang Shi and Yan Kuei were both furious. The two exchanged a look and made up their minds. Boom! The mountain exploded, and Yuan Hao rushed out with blood dripping from the corner of his mouth. As the eldest son of the headmaster of the Yuan family, Yuan Hao had 3 top-ranked defensive items on him. 1 chest armor and 2 arm guards. That sword attack from Yi Chun was very powerful, but it did not break through his defensive items. It had only wounded him a little bit, and after his body demonized, it was still within his bearable range. Damn it! You will regret what you have done. Demon Gold Flash. Yuan Hao reached out his right hand, and 3 inches away from his palm, a couple meters big dark gold light ball appeared. It spun at an extremely fast speed, before being compressed into the size of a fist. The super dense Zhen Yuan vibration had messed up the natural Yuan Qi in the air, and thunder and lightning interweaved in the sky. It is the Demon Gold Flash. Alright, I will wound him badly with 1 attack. Yuan Jin and Yuan Ye's eyes brightened. The Demon Gold Flash was one of the most commonly used martial arts of the demons. The principle was to concentrate the demon power to a high degree, and then release it in the shape of a ray. The powerful power could pierce through the ground within a second, and warriors of the same realm would not be able to handle it at all. The reason why the demons' martial arts were so powerful was because of the powerful bodies of the demons. Only with a powerful body could they perform the extremely demanding martial arts of the demons. Normally, a human demon would have to demonize 3 parts of their body before they could perform the Demon Gold Flash that was compressed with Zhen Yuan. Of course, normal demons did not have the martial arts of the demons, so no matter how many parts they had demonized, it would be useless. It was the advantage of the Yuan family. Fall now! Yuan Hao pushed out his Zhen Yuan, and the dark gold light ball shot out like a dark gold ray. Its speed was unbelievably fast. Wherever the dark gold ray went, the space pattern would be squeezed together, which was an extremely horrifying scene. Not good. It is the martial arts of the demons. Morong Jishui could not help but stand up, looking at Yi Chun nervously. Chapter 548. This attack is quite powerful. It has displayed its attacking power to its fullest. Yi Chen could tell with a single glance that the demon gold flash was an attack that focused on attacking power. There was nothing special about it. It only had a horrifying destructive power. Perhaps it was lacking in attacking techniques, or rather, it did not have any attacking techniques at all. It was only a straight line of destruction, but its speed had made up for that. Hundreds of meters of distance was no different from dozens of meters. It could be covered within a flash. There was only one way to avoid the demon gold flash, and that was to avoid it with his shocking speed. If he were to be scratched even a little bit, he would die a horrible death. With my speed, it would be a bit hard to avoid it. My sword light flying spell also needs a certain amount of time to activate. Plus, it would require me to take off my protective Zhen Yuan layer, so my external defense would be close to zero. Once I am hit, the consequences would be even more severe. It seems like I will have to expose some of my power. With that thought in mind, Yi Chen's eyes suddenly turned sharp. Without backing out, he held his gold sword with both of his hands and waved it down. Almost at the same moment when Yi Chen waved out his gold sword, the dark gold ray appeared 10 meters in front of Yi Chen in a flash. Then, it was blocked out by a sword light that was almost completely golden in color. That sword light was not still, but vibrating. Each blink of an eye, it would vibrate for more than 2,000 times. There was no sound. The second the golden sword light and the dark gold ray clashed, the whole world went silent. Within a radius of dozens of miles, no sound could be heard at all. Everything had been shattered by the vibrating air, disappearing into nothingness. Without a sound, some of the buildings of the Yuan family down below started to crumble, turning into dust like sand. The good thing was that the location of the battle was high enough. Otherwise, the area of destruction would be even bigger. Boom. The silence lasted for about 3 blinks of an eye. After 3 blinks of an eye, a huge ball of light flashed, making the sun in the sky seem dimmer. Within thousands of miles, the sea of clouds directly evaporated, and a cloudless and sunny scene appeared. Right then, the chi flow explosion was not over yet. The second the flash weakened, a circle of knife-like dark gold pattern spread out. Wherever the pattern reached, as long as it was higher than the height of the pattern, it would all be sliced off, leaving behind a smooth surface. Pooh! Yuan Hao did not have the power to fight back at all. He was blown away by the dark gold ripple. His top-ranked chest armor and arm guards were making creaking noises, as if they were going to shatter at any second. That sharp shockwave even traveled through the defensive treasures into his body, making him puke out a lot of blood. The shockwave is so powerful. Everyone watched as Yuan Hao was sent flying, and they all sucked in a breath of cold air. Normally, shockwaves wouldn't be able to hurt the combatants. After all, the shockwaves would spread out in all directions, and once they spread out, their power would quickly decrease, unless they were at the center of the shockwave. However, Yuan Hao was hundreds of meters away from the center of the shockwave. By the way, Yi Chen is only 10 meters away from the site of the explosion. I wonder how he is doing. His injuries are probably worse than Yuan Hao's. Most likely, a lot of people curiously looked at where Yi Chen was. In the sky, the flashes continued, but compared to before, they were 100 times weaker. Through the flashes, they could vaguely see a figure inside. It is so close. He must be badly wounded. Seeing that, Yuan Yi and Yuan Jin both thought that Yi Chen had taken in all of the shockwave. At such a close distance, even if he was at late Sea of Soul's realm, his protective Zhen Yuan would not be able to handle it. Plus, Yi Chen was only at peak level early Sea of Soul's realm. Yi Chen will be okay, right? Morong Wu said worriedly. Morong Jishui did not say anything as he stared at the flashes without blinking. Pop! The flashes disappeared, revealing Yi Chen's body. Yi Chen maintained the posture of waving his sword. On top of the gold sword, there was still a trace of dark gold chi surrounding it, spreading out to the sides. He did not puke blood. Yuan Yi was shocked. No need to rush. Some of the more serious wounds would not be visible from the outside. Yuan Jin frowned. He did not believe that Yi Chen would be completely fine. Letting out a long breath, Yi Chen's body relaxed. His gold sword pointed at the ground as he looked down at the crowd. Eventually, His gaze locked onto Yuan Jin and his son. Yuan Hao has lost. Can you take out the spell on her now? Yi Chen was talking about Morong Qingcheng. She is really not wounded. Yuan Jin and his son looked very bad. At the same time, they were secretly shocked by Yi Chen's power. Although Yuan Hao was not as powerful as Yuan Yi, he was definitely one of the top spirit warriors. Even if he ran into some of the weaker master level Sea of Souls realm warriors, he would still be able to survive. Yuan Yi was more powerful than him in terms of martial arts, and his perfect demi-demon bloodline. Hurry! Bring Hao back! Yuan Jin ordered one of the powerful warriors of the Yuan family, then said to Yi Chen with a low voice, I do not know what you are talking about. Yi and Lady Qingqing are both willing. This marriage is not a problem at all. Otherwise, she would not come to our Yuan family. My daughter and your son are both willing? What kind of joke is this? They did not even know each other before, did they? Morong Jishui said angrily. Yuan Jin stared at Morong Jishui coldly. The relationship between a man and a woman would not be limited by time. Morong Jishui, you do not want your daughter to marry into our Yuan family, because of what happened back then. I will tell you again, our Yuan family did not force her. You separating from her is something between the two of you, and it has nothing to do with our Yuan family. Whether it has anything to do with me or not, I know it very well. But now, please let my daughter go back to normal. Otherwise, do not blame me for being rude. Mentioning his first girlfriend, Morong Jishui was a bit emotional as he said with a cold look in his eyes. Yuan Jin was not angry at all as he said lightly, Yes, we did do something to your daughter. But it was because we did not want her to be affected by you. Everyone here has a family, so you should know how a father affects his daughter. For my son's happiness, we had to do this. You restricted my daughter, and you still think you are right? Let me ask you again, will you take off the spell or not? Morong Jishui stood up. I suggest that you do not do anything reckless. This is the Yuan family, and you are a member of the demi-demon family. You better watch your words and behavior. Otherwise, I would not mind locking you up in the Yuan family for you to reflect on. Uncle, do not do anything reckless. Let me take care of this. Yi Chen passed on his Jin Yuan to Morong Jishui. Morong Jishui tried his best to take a couple of deep breaths before sitting down with anger. He knew that even if he made a scene, it would only make things worse, and it would only benefit the Yuan family. Right now, he could only rely on Yi Chen and Yi Chen's background. It seems like this is very complicated. We will just watch the show. Who cares who is right or wrong? Everyone on the scene sat there casually, drinking tea while chatting. For them, it did not matter who was right or wrong. His body slowly landed as Yi Chen stood in the middle of the plaza. He said with a cold voice, I will say it again. Take off the spell on her. This is our Yuan family's business. You do not have the right to interfere. Plus, she is destined to be my wife. If you dare to stand in my way again, I will not guarantee that I will not do anything. Yuan Yi looked at Yi Chen provocatively. The threat was obvious. Lifting up his gold sword slowly, Yi Chen said lightly, What kind of dog thing do you think you are? You only know how to use this kind of dirty tricks. How dare you call me a dog thing? Yuan Yi was furious. Yuan Jin's face darkened as well. Yi Chen calling Yuan Yi a dog thing was the same as insulting him, and the whole Yuan family. How dare you? Kneel down and apologize. Otherwise, you will not be able to walk out of the Yuan family today. Dozens of Yuan family warriors stood out, their chi power almost exploding out. You are the one who is presumptuous. Yi Chen is a martial genius that the leader of the Dragon God Heaven Palace has chosen. You dare to ask him to kneel down. Do you not want to live anymore? Wang Shi and Yan Kuei stood up together. He dares to bully our Yuan family. How are we going to deal with this? Even if he does not kneel down, he will have to apologize to the whole Yuan family. Yes, he has to apologize. One by one. Don't even think about leaving without apologizing. Our Yuan family is not that easy to bully. Apologize? What are you apologizing for? You should be lucky that I did not ask you to apologize to my brother disciple Yi. Yan Kuei said without a care in the world. Headmaster. Right then. That Yuan family warrior who had been sent out flew back with the badly wounded Yuan Hao on his back. Yuan Jin glanced at the unconscious Yuan Hao, and his face darkened even more. Yi Chen, you have wounded my son badly. This will not end easily. Right now, I will give you one chance. Leave the Yuan family immediately. Otherwise, you will have to bear the consequences. I can leave, but before that, I will undo the spell on her first. That is impossible. Yuan Jin rejected without hesitation. If it is impossible, then what else is there to talk about? I think this marriage was forced by your Yuan family. Brother Yi, take her and leave. Whoever dares to stop you will be going against our dragon god Heaven Palace. Wang Shi and Yin Kuei were helping him from the back. You two shut up. Yao Yifeng was furious. These two had helped Yi Chen time and time again, and did not even put him in their eyes. His heavy qi covered the two immediately. I respect you as the second leader, but if you do things unfairly, then we will not listen to you. You will not listen to me. Yao Yifeng squinted his eyes, looking very dangerous. Father, let me fight with him. If I win, then he will have nothing to say. Yuan Yi could not help but suggest. Yuan Jin hesitated. Are you 100% sure? He had already noticed that Wang Shi and Yin Kuei were obviously supporting Yi Chen. As long as they were there, the Yuan family would not dare to do anything to Yi Chen, and the wedding would not be able to continue. But Yi Chen's power had shocked him quite a bit, and he knew that it would not be easy to take on him. Yuan Yi licked his lips and said, Don't worry. I am 120% sure that I can take him on. I will only win, not lose. All right then. Remember, use all of your power. Do not hold back. Chapter 549. Yuan Jin hated Yi Chen to the bone. He had first killed Mo Luo, then messed up the wedding ceremony, and ruined everything for the Yuan family. This hatred would never be forgotten. One day, when the Dragon King passed away, he would let him know what it meant to be worse than death, and what it meant to regret. As for now, he would let Yi Chen get back some interest first. Show mercy? I will not. Morong Qingqing will only be my woman. Competing with me for a woman, he will have to live under my shadow for the rest of his life. I will attack and humiliate him all the time. Under that endless attack and humiliation, what else can he achieve? Once he has nothing left, I, Yuan Yi, will kill him like killing a dog. With a wicked smile on his face, Yuan Yi, who was wearing a bridegroom outfit, walked out with big steps. He pointed his finger at Yi Chen and said, Yi Chen, do you dare to battle with me? Before, it was your brother Yuan Hao, and now it is you. Do I have to challenge you one by one? Yi Chen said sarcastically. What? You don't dare? If you do not dare, then leave the Yuan family now. From now on, do not appear in front of me, Yuan Yi. Why not? But, what would I get if I win against you? Yuan Yi said. If you win against me, my father will naturally remove the spell on her. On the other hand, if you lose, then this has nothing to do with you. You will leave immediately. Whoever dares to break the promise, the other party can kill them. How about that? Are you satisfied? Yuan Jin, do you agree? Yi Chen looked at Yuan Jin. Yuan Jin said lightly, Little Ye's meaning is my meaning. I hope you will not go back on your words. As he spoke, Yi Chen jumped up into the sky. Yuan Yi sneered, flying up as well. Thousands of meters up in the sky, the two of them maintained a distance of 500 meters, facing each other. The biting cold wind blew at their clothes and hair, giving them a trace of killing intent. Yi Chen, be careful of Yuan Ye's special power. Although I do not know what his special power is, but according to the special power awakened by the perfect demi-demon bloodline in the history of the demi-demons, it might be something related to speed or defense. These two are the most common and practical ones. Down below, Morong Jishui passed on his Zhenyuan to tell Yi Chen to be careful. Yi Chen replied without batting an eyelid. Don't worry, uncle. No matter what his talent is, I will defeat him. If it were before he had trained his void-shattering finger art to 50%, Yi Chen would indeed be afraid of Yuan Ye's special power. But now he did not need to be afraid at all. All he needed to do was to be cautious, since no special power would be able to increase one's power to such a ridiculous level. Being able to increase it by 1-fold would already be the best it could be. On the other hand, his void-shattering finger could easily break through the protective Zhen Yuan of experts of the same level when he had only comprehended a tiny bit of it. The only thing lacking was its lethality. Right now, his void-shattering finger was more than 100 times stronger than before. It could be said that the protective Zhen Yuan of Sea of Soul Realm experts was no different from a piece of paper in front of his void-shattering finger. Its lethality was even more incomparable. So confident, Morong Jishui had never seen Yi Chen's void-shattering finger art before, so he did not know where he got his confidence from. But of course, it would be great if he was confident. Are you ready? Yuan Yi looked at Yi Chen with confidence. We can start anytime. Yi Chen placed his right hand on his gold sword. Pap, pap, pap. The two had not even exchanged blows yet, but their aggressive auras had already clashed together, bringing up countless air swirls. Once one reached the Sea of Soul's realm, the aura would no longer be something intangible. Because of the martial will contained within, its attacking power would be quite powerful. It would be able to wound astral-reaching realm warriors badly. Of course, the aura did not have a physical shape, and was only a mental attack. Therefore, it would not be as powerful as the attacks between astral-reaching realm warriors. But it was still quite shocking. Boom! The last wave of aura attacks seemed to be the two using all of their power. A circle of transparent pattern spread out, changing the color of the sky. Rank 4 Martial Spirit. Yi Chen had tested out the rank of Yuan Ye's Martial Spirit. It was rank 4, which was equivalent to Master level, which was a lot more powerful than Yuan Hao. Added with his peak level mid-Sea of Soul's realm cultivation, it was extremely powerful. No wonder he was so confident. Yi Chen's martial spirit has reached rank 4? A joyful expression flashed past Yuan Jin's face as he thought to himself. It seems like letting Yi travel in the Sky Martial region for 1 year was the right decision. Within 1 year, his martial will had already started to shine, and his martial spirit had reached rank 4. But this brat's aura is no weaker than Yi Chen's. His sword spirit should be at least at peak level rank 4. It was impossible for Yuan Jin not to know that Yi Chen's cultivation was at peak level early Sea of Soul's realm. To be able to compete with Yi Chen's aura, his sword spirit must be at least half a rank higher. Plus, using his sword intent to attack had made up for the disadvantage of his cultivation. If I have guessed it right, your sword spirit should be at peak level rank 4, right? Yuan Yi was a bit surprised. So what? It was just a test, so Yi Chen did not use his slaughter sword intent. His aura contained the destruction sword intent that had not been combined yet, which was at peak level rank 4. Very good. It will be more interesting to beat you like this. Yuan Yi had just returned from the Sky Martial region not too long ago. Back there, he had been beaten by a lot of young warriors with peak level rank 4 martial spirits or sword spirits. Plus, those young warriors were different from Yi Chen. They were all very powerful. Even with his talent, he could not do anything about it. So he had been frustrated for a long time. And now, Yi Chen's sword spirit was also at peak level rank 4, which gave him another reason to humiliate Yi Chen and vent his anger. Water Beast Cage. Trap him. Yuan Yi groaned as both of his hands formed a spell at an extremely high speed. All of a sudden, a shocking amount of water, Yuan Qi gathered from all directions, attaching onto the cage that was formed from Zhen Yuan. This cage was pushed by the water profound and formed quickly. Judging from its shape, it seemed to be even more powerful than the Iron Palm Master's fire cage. But the Iron Palm Master was a master-level Sea of Soul's realm warrior, so his profound comprehension and control would be even more powerful. With a clank, the cage descended from the sky, trapping Yi Chen inside. You want to trap me? Yi Chen took out his gold sword and threw out a sword attack onto the cage. Crack! The cage was broken with a loud noise. Yuan Yi was not in a hurry as he said with a creepy voice. It is not over yet. The final form. The broken cage was repaired at an extreme speed. At the same time, a toad-like Zhen Yuan water beast appeared on top of the cage. With the toad-like water beast's help, the surface of the cage shone with a green light, looking like it was made from solid crystals. Mid-rank profound sense martial art. Yi Chen finally understood. No wonder it was even more powerful than the Iron Palm Master's fire cage. It turned out to be a mid-rank profound sense martial art. However, his opponent's understanding of the profound sense of water was not that impressive. It seemed like he could only perform 30% of this profound sense martial art. Break. Zhen Yuan vibrated as Yi Chen performed his gold resonant radiance sword art. Chin. The sturdiness of the water beast cage was not as powerful as the Iron Palm Master's fire cage after all. Under Yi Chen's most powerful sword attack, it was shattered into pieces. Killing water fist art. Yuan Yi had never thought about using the water beast cage to trap Yi Chen completely. After all, his achievement in it was not that high yet, so it could only be used to gain an advantage for himself. But now that his goal had been achieved, he roared as a circle of black pattern appeared on his right fist. It covered half of the sky, turning the area into a world of water. He threw out a heavy punch toward Yi Chen, who had already used up all of his previous power. Reverse Sky Thunder Cut. Yi Chen held his green longsword with his left hand and threw out a sword attack. Bang! The power of the killing water fist art was extremely powerful. Yi Chen was blown away, but he had used his slaughter sword intent for this sword attack, so he was not wounded at all. Down! That fist attack had gotten him a bigger advantage, so Yuan Yi chased after him. His body kept flashing, and his speed was extremely fast, no slower than Yi Chen's. He then threw out one powerful killing water fist art after another. The whole sky was filled with black fist shadows and water patterns. Putting the longsword back into its scabbard, Yi Chen flicked out his 5 fingers on his left hand, shooting out beams of lotus heart sword chi. Because there were so many of them, they formed into a sword chi tornado. With the sheer amount of sword chi, it cancelled out all of Yuan Yi's fist power. What? Finger sword chi? So many. Yuan Yi thought that Yi Chen's most powerful attack would be his gold resonant radiance attack. Therefore, he had used the water beast cage to trap Yi Chen, forcing him to use up his gold resonant radiance attack first, so that he would not be able to use it again in a short period of time. But he did not expect that Yi Chen would also have the sword chi tornado, which was extremely concentrated. Dang! Dang! In that critical moment, Yuan Yi crossed his hands in front of his body and formed a 6-star shield in front of him. The shield looked like a human-sized crystal. It was very thick in the middle, and the 2 sides of the shield extended out in a streamlined shape. It was the defensive profound sense martial art that he was most proud of. The sword chi was endless, suppressing Yuan Yi so much that he could not move at all. All of a sudden, the sword chi tornado disappeared, and a wave of golden sword light rushed over, landing on Yuan Yi's shield. Boom! Like a crystal that had been shattered, the shield was shattered. Right then, Yi Chen was already close to Yuan Yi. Yuan Yi lifted up his head, a creepy light shining in his eyes. I have been waiting for you. My special power. Defense enhancement. Compared to Yuan Hao's demonization power, Yuan Yi's speed of performing his special power was extremely fast. 2 sharp horns suddenly grew out of his head. The base of the horns was extremely thick, with a spiral pattern on it. The tip of the horns shone with a cold light. Once they touched the air, a fist-sized vacuum space was created. The second the horns appeared, Yuan Yi's skin and protective Zhenyuan layer had changed. It had turned slightly black, and its thickness had increased by a couple of times. This special power was similar to the demonization power, but it was even more powerful. The strengthening of his defense had increased Yuan Yi's power as well. More importantly, he could now ignore his opponent's attacks, and only needed to attack with all his might. Back out! Yuan Yi threw out his light black fist. It was still the killing water fist art, but its power had been increased by a lot. Space patterns started to appear on the surface of his fist. Yi Chen's well-prepared sword attack had already arrived, and it clashed with his opponent's fist. Dang! A metal exploding sound was heard as the two backed out in different directions. But the difference was that Yuan Yi managed to stop himself from backing out very soon, and charged at Yi Chen again. He sneered. After the strengthening of my defense, my endurance has increased, and my attacking speed will be even faster. Oh yeah, the slaughter sword spirit inside Yi Chen's soul ocean let out a sword cry as its slaughter sword intent poured out. Chapter 550. Boom! Yuanye's fist had arrived. It was not a big light black fist, but it filled up the whole sky. Even the sunlight had been blocked out as it landed on Yi Chen's head. If this fist landed, even if Yi Chen's defense was twice as powerful, he would still be shocked into a retard. Yi Chen's eyes were cold. His gold sword vibrated at an extremely high frequency as he threw out a sword attack to welcome the incoming attack. The gold resonant radiance sword attack had been trained to 90%, and it could vibrate 2,800 times within a second, which was close to 3,000 times. Once it reached 3,000 times, the gold resonant radiance sword attack would reach the completion level, and its power would definitely be equivalent to the top profound sense martial arts. The gold resonant radiance sword attack was already an extremely powerful profound sense sword attack. Normal profound sense sword attacks would be slightly weaker than it. The fist and the sword clashed together, and the sound wave that exploded was extremely horrifying. The whole sky seemed to be filled with this metal exploding sound. Because of the loud sound, no one seemed to be able to hear it clearly. Loud sound. It was just that the sound was too loud, and it was beyond their ability to hear it. In the center of the battle, that light black and gold light ball had devoured the two. The light ball expanded to 100 meters wide, and the air was pushed out like a ball, forming a 1,000 meters wide vacuum ball. One big and one small. The two balls resonated with each other. In the center of the light ball, Yi Chen and Yuanyi still maintained their attacking posture, their fists and the gold sword clashing together. Boom! The two balls exploded at the same time. The buildings of the Yuan family were shaking, looking like they were about to be destroyed. All of the powerful warriors of the Yuan family worked together to create a massive Zhen Yuan wall, blocking out the blasting wave. So it would not affect the buildings of the Yuan family at all. As for the sky above, the shocking sky had been dented, turning into a half-sphere. Endless amounts of wind, fire, thunder, and water leaked out, looking colorful and eye-catching. It was like the end of the world had arrived, and the sky was going to bring down his anger. The two had only clashed for a second before separating. But, just like Yuanyi had said, after performing his special defensive power, his endurance and attacking speed had increased. He had only backed out for dozens of meters before stepping on the air and shooting toward Yi Chen. Let's see what other tricks you have. Yuanyi was very clear that the ace attacks could not be performed twice at the same time. This time, Yi Chen had used up his gold resonant radiance attack. If he wanted to perform it again, he would have to wait for the next second, and the next second, his fist would land on Yi Chen's body. Dual sword style. Of course, Yi Chen knew about it. Indeed, the ace killing attacks would take a certain amount of time to prepare. Normally, the more powerful the killing attack, the longer the preparation time would be. Of course, it would also depend on the warrior's cultivation. If the warrior's cultivation was high enough, then there would not be such a problem, because the higher the cultivation, the more powerful the killing attack would be. Therefore, the preparation time would not be extended. Right now, he was at peak level early Sea of Soul's realm, and his gold resonant radiance attack was not weaker than Yuanye's killing water fist art. Therefore, the preparation time would be a bit longer than his opponent, which would be his advantage. Therefore, he could not continue to perform his gold resonant radiance attack. But even without the gold resonant radiance attack, he still had the Sky Thunder Cut and the reverse Sky Thunder Cut to form his dual sword style. In terms of power, it would only be slightly weaker than the gold resonant radiance attack. Most importantly, the dual sword style consisted of 2 attacks, and both of them were way weaker than the gold resonant radiance attack. The preparation time would be very short, and he would be able to perform it before Yuanyi. Shoo! The sword light, one in the front and the other in the back, intersected and attacked toward Yuanyi. Yuanyi flicked his eyebrows, then sneered as he threw out his fist heavily. He did not think that throwing out 2 attacks at the same time would be that powerful. Boom! Once his fist touched the intersecting sword light, Yuan Yi immediately felt the 2 layers of power coming at him in a superimposed way. Because he was in a hurry to beat Yi Chen, his killing water fist art was not at its peak condition yet. Instead, he was at a disadvantage under this intersecting sword attack. He was blown backward, and the big red flower on his chest had been torn apart as well. How is this possible? 2 sword attacks superimposed together? How could it be this powerful? Perhaps it was rare to be able to do 2 things at the same time in the southern regions, but in the whole True Spirit continent, there were still a lot of people who could do it. Back in the Sky Martial region, Yuan Yi had seen a lot of young warriors who could do 2 things at the same time. But it was rare for them to do so, because it would not only distract them, but the power of the superimposed attacks would also not be that powerful. Otherwise, everyone would have tried to do it already. He did not expect that Yi Chen's double sword attack would be this powerful. It was almost as powerful as his opponent's gold resonant radiance sword attack. Yi Chen did not have much of an expression on his face. He knew about the power of the double sword attack, and it was not a normal double sword attack. The Sky Thunder Cut and the Reverse Sky Thunder Cut that he had created were originally from the same source. One was the front, and the other the back. The combination of the front and back was flawless, and its power was not something that could be compared with just 2 sword attacks superimposed together. After forcing back Yuan Yi with 1 sword attack, Yi Chen's body flashed like a sword light, shooting toward his opponent's blind spot. Yuan Yi was shocked as he lifted up his left arm. Chin! The gold sword landed on his left arm. So hard! This sword attack of Yi Chen's was about speed, so its power was not as powerful as his ace attacks. But it contained the slaughter sword intent. Added with the amplification of the gold sword, even Master Level C of Soul's Realm Warriors' protective Zhen Yuan layer might not be able to handle it. When it landed on Yuan Ye's left arm, it was like using a knife to cut through steel. But of course, he also knew that his opponent's protective Zhen Yuan had used up a lot of his power, which was one of the reasons why he could not hurt Yuan Yi. Yuan Yi was not wounded at all, but the clothes on his left arm had been completely shredded, turning into dust. How is this possible? Yi is at a disadvantage now? Yuan Jin could not believe his eyes as he stared at Yi Chen. Right then, no matter how stupid he was, he knew that Yi Chen had been hiding his power, and Yuan Hao had only forced him to use part of his power. Yi Chen is so powerful. Morong Wu and Morong Jishui looked at each other. With Yi Chen's power right now, he was not weaker than the weaker Master Level C of Soul's Realm Warriors. But of course it was just not weaker. It did not mean that he had the power to battle with Master Level C of Soul's Realm Warriors, since Master Level C of Soul's Realm Warriors were powerful in all aspects. Compared to Master Level C of Soul's Realm Warriors, Yi Chen and Yuan Yi still had some weaknesses. It was the gap between the top Spirit Realm Warriors and Master Level C of Soul's Realm Warriors. TSK. He is already this powerful at peak level early C of Soul's Realm. Once he reaches mid C of Soul's Realm, he would be able to enter the Master Level C of Soul's Realm Warriors, and would not be the weakest one. Being able to enter the Master Level with only mid C of Soul's Realm, this kind of martial geniuses is rare indeed. Yeah, in the 4 regions, Li Xiaoling, one of the candidates for the second leader of the Yellow Dragon Palace in the eastern region, seems to be close to it. But he is only close. He should not be there yet. There would be 1 or 2 in the western region, and the northern region. There would not be many in the Sky Martial region either. There was only 1 region between the Gulan region and the Sky Martial region. Among the people present, a lot of them had been to the Sky Martial region before, so they knew a lot about the young generation. In the sky, Yuan Yi had a bad look on his face. Although that sword attack from Yi Chen did not hurt him, it had still hurt his left arm. But it was not the physical pain that made him angry. It was the mental attack that he could not handle. I am at peak level mid-C of Soul's Realm, and my martial spirit is at rank 4. Plus, I have the special ability to strengthen my defense. I am powerful in all aspects. Why am I losing? Whether Yuan Yi wanted to admit it or not, it was a fact that he was losing. Shoo! Using the momentum of his left arm being cut down, Yuan Yi backed out quickly. As he did, he lifted up his right hand, and a massive dark gold light ball appeared. Demon Gold Flash. Yi Chen's pupil shrank. Without even thinking, he knew that Yuan Ye's Demon Gold Flash would be even more powerful than Yuan Hao's attack. It would be unbelievably powerful, and it would be hard for him to dodge it. I have to release all of my slaughter sword intent now. Before Yuan Yi performed his special ability, Yi Chen had been using the destruction sword intent, and only then did he use the slaughter sword intent. Its power was around rank 5 normal sword intent. Because of his powerful soul power, the sword intent did not leak out at all. Therefore, no one knew that his slaughter sword spirit had already reached such a realm. If it continued to increase, it would be at peak level rank 5. No matter how good his control was, he would not be able to hide it anymore. Boom! Yuan Yi pushed out his Zhen Yuan, and the dark gold light ball shot out. It turned into a beam of dark gold light, attacking toward Yi Chen at an extreme speed. Its speed was even faster than Yuan Hao's Demon Gold Flash. The dark gold light beam flashed once before disappearing. That flash of light made the sun in the sky lose its color, turning it into a black and white world. After releasing the Demon Gold Flash, a creepy look flashed through Yuan Ye's face. His special ability was defense strengthening, and his body was extremely powerful. How could he not have trained it before? Compared to Yuan Hao, he was more talented, so his achievement in training it would be much higher as well. If it were not for the fact that he was forced to do so, he would not use it at all. For him, the more ace cards he had, the better it would be. Plus, he thought that he would be able to beat Yi Chen without using it. With the Demon Gold Flash in my hands, even normal Master Level Sea of Souls Realm warriors would not be able to handle it. They would have to avoid it for a while. To be defeated by this attack, it would be your honor. Next, I will humiliate you and destroy your dignity. Yuan Yi thought to himself coldly. Down below, the Morong Jishui brothers, Wang Shi, and Yan Kuei could feel their hearts racing as they looked at Yi Chen nervously. Yao Yifeng and Yuan Jin sneered, as if they could already see Yi Chen losing. Ooh! Seeing that dark gold light beam approaching, Yi Chen exploded. His long black hair danced in the air, as that horrifying slaughter sword intent shot out into the sky. This sword intent had already gone beyond his control, turning the whole place into a bleak, silent world. The sky had a dark red color, which was a sign of great danger and a massacre. Once it appeared, everything in the world would fall into a massacre, and Yi Chen was the embodiment of it. Because of the fact that he could not control the sword intent completely, it was immediately sensed by everyone present. Everyone opened their eyes wide, shocked beyond words. Impossible! This is the King Warrior sword intent. Chapter 551. The King-level sword intent was the sword intent of a life and death realm warrior, which was a rank 5 sword intent. For a Sea of Souls realm warrior to form a rank 5 sword spirit and use a rank 5 sword intent, it would only be slightly easier than reaching the life and death realm from the Sea of Souls realm. It was not hard to imagine how much of a commotion it would cause. It's indeed a king sword intent, but it shouldn't be a king sword spirit. This king sword intent contains the slaughter attribute, which can increase the power of the sword intent. But even so, it's still extremely terrifying. His slaughter sword spirit is at least a level 4 slaughter sword spirit. Before, some of the master level Sea of Souls realm warriors were only there to watch the show. But now, all of them had their eyes wide open, their faces full of disbelief. The dark gold light ray was extremely fast. While everyone was thinking about it, it had already arrived in front of Yi Chen. It looked like it could pierce through everything and destroy everything in its path. As for Yi Chen, he had started to accumulate the aura for his gold resonant radiance attack the moment he used all of his slaughter sword intent. Right then it was done. He held the gold sword with both of his hands and threw out a powerful attack. His expression was calm, but there was still a hint of killing in it. It was as if he was treating it as a normal thing, and he was not affected at all. Swoosh! That sword attack looked normal, containing a bit of gold light. But once the dark gold light ray touched it, a part of it was destroyed. Once the sword tip landed, the powerful sword power spread out through the sword body, shattering the dark gold light ray completely. It turned into two beams of light, shooting toward both sides of Yi Chun. It was as if he was a rock, and the dark gold light ray was the flowing water. When the flowing water touched the rock, it would naturally be separated. However, although the rock did not have any attacking power, Yi Chun did. After his sword had cut open the dark gold light ray, it attacked toward Yuan Yi at a shocking speed. Not good. Yuan Yi had already sensed the danger the moment Yi Chun revealed his ace attack. He was very clear about how powerful the king-level sword intent was. Not to mention the fact that Yi Chun was not weak himself. Even if he were a normal Sea of Souls realm warrior, he would not be able to be underestimated. Who? That light black protective Zhen Yuan layer shone with a bright green light. That light looked like it was about to condense into a halo. It added onto Yuan Ye's protective Zhen Yuan layer, making it look like it had solidified. With the combination of the two, Yuan Ye's body was impenetrable. Creak. That almost completely golden sword light landed on Yuan Ye's protective Zhen Yuan layer, which suddenly cracked like a piece of tempered glass. With that crack as the center, the cracks started to spread out in all directions, and eventually, a huge dent was formed in the middle. The sword light had a lot of hidden power as it kept attacking, trying to break through the protective layer of Zhen Yuan, and hit Yuan Yi inside. Yuan Yi pushed up his Zhen Yuan as well, trying his best to defend. Soon, the sword light disappeared, and Yuan Yi was unharmed. What? Didn't hurt him? Yi Chun was a bit surprised. He had already used all of his power for that sword attack. Even the protective Zhen Yuan of a master-level Sea of Souls realm warrior could be cut open easily. No matter how powerful Yuan Ye's defense was, it would not be that much more powerful than a master-level Sea of Souls realm warrior. No, that dark green light. It seems to be the light of a great weapon. Yi Chun squeezed his eyes and released his soul power. Through Yuan Ye's clothes, Yi Chun could see a lot of weapons. There were dark green chest armor, arm guards, wrist guards, fist gloves, leg guards, and even waist guards. There were 6 types of weapons in total. Among them, the fist gloves were the attacking ones, while the rest were all defensive ones. All 6 of them had the same color, and the vibration they gave off was the same as well. It seemed like they were originally a set. It was a complete set. A set of prized artifacts, a perfect set of prized artifacts. Yi Chun finally understood why Yuan Yi was able to block out that sword attack. The reason was none other than the fact that he was wearing a full set of weapons. Normally, a full set of weapons would be able to fit all of the weapons on the body. A lot of people would be able to put together a full set of weapons, but it would only be a bit more powerful than the most powerful weapon on the body. Therefore, even if one had a full set of weapons, the increase in attack and defense would still be limited. It would only be a bit more powerful than the most powerful weapon on the body. Meanwhile, the set of items that Yuan Yi had on him was a complete set of items. Their elements matched perfectly, and they all had a deep connection with each other. Wearing all of them on him would be able to activate all of the power of the set of items, allowing all of them to combine perfectly together. Not only was Yi Chun surprised, everyone down below was shocked as well. They could tell that Yi Chun's sword attack was extremely powerful, and Yuan Yi being able to block it out was completely out of their expectation. Yi, have you been to the Treasure Holy Tower and gotten a full set of top-rank weapons? Yuan Jin was very worried before, but right now, all of that was gone, and a joyful expression flashed through his face. After canceling out that sword light from Yi Chun, Yuan Yi laughed out loud. Yi Chun, you are indeed powerful, forcing me to use my weapons as an advantage. Yuan Yi actually has a set of top-rank weapons that fit perfectly with each other. Morong Jishui did not look too good. Perhaps, Yi Chun still has some other hidden cards. Morong Wu said uncertainly. Morong Jishui said bitterly. He has even revealed his king-level sword intent. What other hidden cards could he have? I can only hope that this Yuan Ye's attacking power would not increase that much. Yi Chen, have a taste of this fist attack of mine. While everyone was discussing, Yuan Yi threw out a killing water fist attack toward Yi Chen. As he threw out that fist attack, an endless dark green light flowed out of his body and was infused into his fist aura. All of a sudden, the fist power increased drastically. Yi Chen did not back out at all as he welcomed it with his gold sword. Boom! The light ball exploded, and the two backed out at the same time. It is only slightly weaker than my attack, and it has the whole set of weapons to cancel it out. Yi Chen frowned. Yuan Ye's attacking power was actually slightly weaker than his, but the latter had a whole set of great items, which would be more than twice as powerful as Yi Chen's. Therefore, Yi Chen's attacks would not be able to put him at a disadvantage at all. Haha, I hope you will not get hit by me. His attacking power was catching up with Yi Chen's, and his defense was way more powerful than Yi Chen's. Yuan Yi was not worried at all. Even if Yi Chen were to attack him, he would not be afraid. As long as he managed to land an attack on Yi Chen, he would lose immediately. It meant that he was born to be unbeatable. Boom, 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 boom. The two continued to exchange attacks, their chi power spreading out everywhere. Morong Jishui and Morong Wu both looked a bit gloomy. Yuan Ye's attacking power had also increased. Although it was not as big as his defense, his attacking power was already very powerful. Now that it had been increased, it would be even more horrifying. Even Yi Chen could not do anything to him. Boom! In the sky, the two separated again. Yi Chen, you will not be able to beat me. Just leave the Yuan family quietly. Otherwise, I will not let you have any face left. Yuan Yi was secretly shocked at Yi Chen's battling technique. During this time, they had exchanged hundreds of attacks, but he had not managed to land a single hit on Yi Chen. Instead, he had been hit by Yi Chen a couple of times. If it were not for his whole set of weapons, even if he was not wounded badly, he would not feel good at all. Plus, activating a whole set of weapons would cost a lot of Jin Yuan. Although his cultivation was higher than Yi Chen's, he might not be able to last until the end. Yi Chen said coldly, "Is this all you have?" "What? Are you still thinking about it?" Yuan Yi sneered. "Whether or not I am thinking about it, we will know soon enough." Actually, in order to beat Yuan Yi, Yi Chen had two options. One was to take out his semi-extreme rank great sword, the Thunder Disaster Sword. With it, even if his opponent had a whole set of weapons, he would not be able to handle it. The second option was to perform his void-shattering finger art, which was extremely powerful in breaking through Zhen Yuan. It would also be able to break through his opponent's defense. But after thinking about it, he decided that he could not expose his Thunder Disaster Sword. Once he used it, he did not know how many people would want to get their hands on it. It would be troublesome. Although using his void-shattering finger art would expose his most powerful ace attack, it would not cause too much trouble. At most, people would know about it. With that thought in mind, Yi Chen put his gold sword back into its scabbard. He reached out his right index finger and poured his Zhen Yuan into it. Woo! That finger of his was extremely long. As the Zhen Yuan poured in, the edge of his finger started to have a space pattern. It seemed like even the surreal space could not handle the power of this finger. What kind of finger art is this? Yuan Yi squinted his eyes slightly. His instinct told him that this finger was very dangerous and should not be underestimated. But after thinking about it for a while, he sneered inwardly. If a whole set of weapons were so easy to break, why would he risk his life to enter the tower? Come on, watch me shatter your belief. Chapter 552. With a low growl, Yuan Ye's long hair shot up into the sky. The protective Zhen Yuan in front of him started to crystallize, combining the light black and the dark green together perfectly. At the same time, the glove on his right hand lit up with a dark green light pattern. As the pattern lit up, more dark green light poured out of his body and gathered on the glove, ready to be unleashed at any second. After everything was done, Yuan Yi was full of confidence and high spirits. Hundreds of meters in front of him, Yi Chen, whose pupils shone with a silver light, locked onto Yuan Yi. In his eyes, Yuan Yi was no longer Yuan Yi. He was just a coordinate, a target. All he needed to do was to hit the target with one finger attack. It was that simple. In everyone's eyes, Yi Chen's body seemed to have enlarged. It was not a physical change but a mental change. The mental pressure that Yi Chen performed with his void-shattering finger had made them feel like the whole world was filled with his shadow. The sky started to shake as Yi Chen pointed out his finger. No one could describe how horrifying this finger attack was. Once it was pointed out, the space seemed to have turned into nothingness. Even the space pattern had been sucked in. Once it was pointed out, a huge blue finger appeared in front of Yuan Yi all of a sudden, pressing onto his protective Zhen Yuan. So fast. It is even faster than my demon gold flash. Yuan Yi did not even have the time to throw out a punch, so the only thing he could do was to block out with his arms. Pop. With Yuan Yi as the center, a pattern spread out in all directions. At the same time, the protective Zhen Yuan in front of his body started to shatter, like a piece of clay that had been pressed by a finger. In the next second, the finger had sunk in. That dark green light was like a dying flame under the attack of the blue finger, unable to fight back at all. Without the protection of the dark green light, there was no way Yuan Yi's basic protective Zhen Yuan could block out the power of the void-shattering finger attack. It was instantly shattered, and Feng Ye's right arm went numb without any feeling. His chest felt like it had been struck by lightning, causing him to puke out a huge mouthful of blood. With one attack of the void-shattering finger, Yuan Yi's defense had been broken through without any doubt. The powerful finger force caused everyone to suck in a breath of cold air. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. The protective Zhen Yuan has been strengthened by the defense and the whole set of artifacts. It has already surpassed ordinary Sea of Soul Master level warriors. How could he break through it with one strike? What the hell is the problem? What kind of finger art is this? Yuan Yi was panicking. Before this, he had never thought that he would lose. There had been so many twists and turns in the battle, but every time, he had an ace up his sleeve. Right now his ace had been used up, but his opponent still had more. The continuous attacks had made his mental state very weak, and he was close to losing his mind. Haha, he really has a trump card. Morong Wu mumbled unconsciously. Morong Jishui was completely stunned. What kind of young warrior was this? Every time his opponent was about to make a comeback, he would beat him down. If it were him, he would not feel good either, not to mention Yuan Yi, who had always been cruel. Ranked first in the Hidden Dragon rank at the age of 18, his name spread across the entire southern region at the age of 21, becoming one of the top 4 young warriors. At the age of 23, he had dominated the whole southern region's young generation. At the age of 24, he had beaten Yuan Yi, who was 1 generation older than him. Is this his hidden power? Morong Jishui had finally understood why this young man had been able to show more and more power since he had risen to the top. It was not only because of his great talent, but also because he knew how to be patient. He would not reveal his ace cards until the critical moment, and he would never be satisfied. No one knew if he still had more ace cards or not. Scary. The young warriors who are living in the same era as him should be worried now. Right then, Morong Jishui had been completely convinced by Yi Chen. It had nothing to do with power or status, but Yi Chen's horrifying mentality and potential. He had a feeling that even if he went up there himself, he might not be able to do anything to Yi Chen. This was an unpredictable young man, like a huge dragon hiding in the abyss. Anyone who dared to challenge him would be torn apart by his claws. Our brother disciple Yi is not just a normal kind of horrifying. Wang Shi and Yan Kuei were both spirit realm experts. The first time they met Yi Chen, he was only a weak astral-reaching realm warrior. The second time they met him, his cultivation base was already not that much lower than theirs, and his power was even more powerful than theirs. For no reason at all, the two felt very lucky. They were lucky that they had always treated Yi Chen as their brother disciple, and did not have any other thoughts. Although they did not have any thoughts, it did not mean that they would be indifferent to everything. As the saying goes, a big tree is a good shade. Yi Chen, this little sapling, had already grown up. It was not like they did not get anything in return for befriending Yi Chen. Of course, they did not think of anything in the first place. Yao Yifeng is out of luck. Wang Shi glanced at Yao Yifeng sympathetically. Speaking of which, as the second leader of the Yellow Dragon Palace, Yao Yifeng should have been on good terms with Yi Chen. Unfortunately, for his own benefit, he did not care that Yi Chen was a martial genius that the Dragon King valued. He had tried to make things difficult for him, which had completely pissed him off. It would not take him long to regret his decision. You can do whatever you want, but you can't do anything about it. Yin Kuei sneered. Without noticing Wang Shi and Yin Kuei's weird expressions, Yao Yifeng was very annoyed right now. In fact, ever since Yi Chen beat Yuan Hao, he had been feeling uncomfortable. The more powerful Yi Chen was, the more he hated him. It was also because of fear. The fear that Yi Chen would surpass him and take revenge on him. Right now, Yi Chen had beaten Yuan Yi, showing power that was not weaker than normal Sea of Souls Realm Master level warriors. His annoyance had reached its peak, and killing intent had started to form. Yi Chen, I admit that I was a bit short-sighted. But if you still want to hate me, then don't blame me. The chance of survival is in your hands. Yao Yifeng had a bad look on his face as his eyes flickered. Little Yi was injured. Yuan Jin's mood was just like the situation of the battle. It had been full of twists and turns, and his attitude of being in control of everything had disappeared completely. All that was left was anxiety and anger. If I had known this earlier, I would have stopped him at all costs. Yuan Jin was very regretful. He regretted that he did not pay enough attention to Yi Chen. If he knew that Yi Chen was about to come to the Gulan region and the Yuan family, he would have used all of his resources to stop him. Then, the situation would not have turned out like this. It was all because he had underestimated Yi Chen's power. Damn it! Yi cannot lose. Tightening his fists, a sharp light shot out of Yuan Jin's eyes. Wah! Puking out another mouthful of blood, Yuan Ye's face was extremely pale. I have not lost yet. This finger art of yours must have consumed a lot of Jin Yuan. Let's see who can last until the end. After performing his special power, Yuan Ye's body was extremely powerful. The wound that the void-shattering finger art had brought to him would not affect his battling power too much. Plus, at this point, he would not allow himself to fail, since it would be a huge blow to him. Not long ago, he had said that he had 120% chance of winning, and that he would be able to kill Yi Chen like a dog. But now that the situation had turned around, how could he let it go? He could tell that the void-shattering finger art would consume a lot of Jin Yuan. As long as he could last a couple of times, he would be able to beat Yi Chen completely and step on him. That finger attack was just a test. If you choose to continue, then you will have to face a bigger consequence. Yi Chen had thought it through very clearly. Killing Yuan Yi right here would be very troublesome. Therefore, he did not perform his void-shattering finger art to its limit, since he was afraid that he might accidentally cripple or kill Yuan Yi. So he decided to test his opponent's bottom line first. Without wasting time, Yi Chen pointed out his index finger and performed another void-shattering finger art. Pop! The blue finger broke through the space and was like a deadly finger, easily landing on Yuan Ye's newly formed protective Jin Yuan. The second the blue finger touched his protective Jin Yuan, a deep finger mark appeared on that crystallized layer. The power of this void-shattering finger art was even more powerful than before. The protective Jin Yuan that Yuan Yi had spent a lot of effort to build up had been shattered, and a trace of hatred appeared in his eyes. He hated it so much. Losing to Yi Chen meant that he had completely lost the battle for the woman. If this news got out, how would the others think of him? This kind of blow was driving him crazy. Lose now. Yi Chen did not use his void-shattering finger art. If he used it for the third time, Yuan Yi would die for sure. So he flashed his body and took out his gold sword, stabbing out. Yi Chen, give our Yuan family some face. Pretend that you have lost the battle. After this, our Yuan family will reward you handsomely. I believe you would not want to turn against our Yuan family completely. Right at the second when Yi Chen's sword was about to pierce into Yuan Ye's body, Yuan Jin passed on his Jin Yuan to Yi Chen. His tone was a bit hurried, but there was also a hint of threat in it. Yi Chen sneered. Now that things had come to this, she still wanted to threaten him? Pushing out his Zhen Yuan, Yi Chen stabbed his sword into Yuan Ye's chest. The sword light went through and shot out from his back, covering the whole area in gold. Down below, Morong Jishui took a deep breath. It was finally over. Bastard! Yuan Jin's eyes were red. At this critical moment, he had already let go of his pride and promised to reward his opponent. But the latter did not give any face to the Yuan family at all. Instead, he had stabbed through Yuan Ye's body, which would at least make him bedridden for a couple of months. Since he does not want to give me face, why should I? Shoo! Yuan Jin shot up into the sky, approaching Yi Chen at an unimaginable speed. Yi Chen, it was only a battle, but you are already so cruel. I will teach you a lesson for the Dragon God Heaven Palace. Piss off now. Old bastard Yuan, you are so shameless. Morong Jishui's eyebrows flicked as an extreme anger flashed through his eyes. The second Yuan Jin moved, he had already chased after him, leaving behind layers of water shadow behind him. How dare you? Go back. The powerful warriors of the Yuan family jumped out, blocking the furious Morong Jishui. The leading warrior was a master level C of Soul's Realm warrior. He exchanged an attack with Morong Jishui and managed to stop him from saving Yi Chen. Damn! How dare you bully my brother disciple Yi? Wang Shi and Yan Kuei could not stay calm anymore. The two of them moved out together, attacking toward the powerful warriors of the Yuan family. All of a sudden, the plaza of the Yuan family turned into a mess. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.